Bubble presents the No Code Hustle, where we speak with founders, builders, and makers who are building the next generation of tech products all without code. I'm your host, Eric Israni. Welcome, everyone. I'm here with Jonathan Menashe, CEO of Beelango, and we're going to talk about his app today, Beelango. Thanks for coming on, Jonathan. I'm excited to have you here.
Hi, Eric. Thanks for having me.
And so you're calling all the way from Israel, is that right?
Yeah.
And so from on the other side of the planet, in what's largely regarded as the startup country, right? Israel is the startup country.
Startup nation. Yeah.
Startup nation.
Yeah, that's the formal name.
You've had quite the history bringing you to where you are now. Do you want to tell me a little bit about it?
Well, I started my journey in the Israeli army, which is mandatory for all of us. That was 5 interesting years. I actually studied at university accounting. I'm an accountant, not a very good one. Then I worked for a big corporation, big accounting firm as an advisor for mostly high-tech companies. I helped them raise funds from different sources. And then I decided to start my startup, which is called One Language. In the global brand name is Beelango. We decided to find a method, a good method of learning language, of teaching language online. And the thing I remember back then, it was 8 years ago. I read the book The Lean Startup by Eric Ries.
Mm-hmm.
You know it?
Yeah, very familiar.
5 times back to back, and it became my Bible. And there's one sentence I remember from there. It's startup success can be engineered, and it's really, really true. So we started building an app, and actually we looked at all the language apps that were out there,
mm-hmm.
and the thing is that there were apps to teach you words or sentences, not really how to talk and engage in conversation in a second language. And so we took a different approach. All the e-learning I saw, all the apps I saw were there was a technological solution, and they told the teachers to pour their knowledge in the technology.
Mm-hmm.
And we did it the other way around. We came to the teachers and we asked them, what do you need us to build in order to teach language the best and most effective way? And we started from there. And if your average e-learning solution have like 9 kinds of different questions, we have more than 60 types of interactive activities. And each
so,
of them working,
so
each of them working on a different part of your brain and your
mm-hmm.
language acquisition process.
And so prior to this, you weren't teaching other languages. You didn't have a history in this.
Nothing. I came from the business world.
So what inspired you to solve this particular problem?
I was really bored at my job, and I think I thought of what's going on here in Israel with the Arabs and Jews, and I met my partner, which was all about teaching. She wrote books about for Jewish for Hebrew speakers to learn Arabic, and she taught in a very special method. She taught language and culture, because she told me that you can't learn a language without cultures. Otherwise, you're just memorizing words. If you don't have the context and the cultural codes of the other side, you'll never understand, and you could never speak the other language. And I saw an opportunity to develop something that can have impact. I think that every startup, every new idea has to have two things: a social benefit, it has to be humanity plus, and it has to be sustainable. You have to have a strong business model. Otherwise, you can do it for 1 year and it's over.
Yeah.
So we did it. We started with. I asked her, "What do you need us to build in order to teach?" And I went step by step by the lean startup method. We tested everything. And in the beginning, we had programmers, and we had a budget, and we after 2 years we had a great product. It was built with .NET and Silverlight, which is the Microsoft technology. And after the product was done, and we had contracts with the government, and it started working. It was good. People were learning Arabic. The thing is, we chose a bad technology, Silverlight. Microsoft announced that they're stopping support it.
Yeah.
And so I was stuck with a nice sum of money that we invested in it, and a nice product, but it's built like it's like a flash site, which is useless now.
Yeah.
So it won't work on it. So I had like a year before it won't work on any device or any browser.
So you had a deadline. You had a tight 12 months. You had to transition to something new.
I had 1 year. Then I found Storyline, which is a program that lets you build interactions for e-learning interactions. And I had to build a platform around it to sell the product and to market it, and so the users can log in, and teachers can an LMS basically. And I discovered WordPress and PHP, and so I took 9 months, and I remember it because my twins were born then. So I was between diaper and bottle. I was learning how to write PHP and JavaScript. It was really hard, and I had no choice. I tried to raise money for it, and I couldn't.
Had you raised money previously for the first iteration?
For the first iteration, did it with a small budget that we raised, friends and family.
So let me ask you before we go on. When you raised that first round, when you raised that friends and family round, did people ask you about the technology? Did they ask you why you chose this particular platform, or why you weren't coding it?
No. This is the thing about stupid money that they don't ask. It was a good idea, and the family was behind it. It wasn't a lot of money, but it was enough money to hurt.
Yeah.
And it was making money also. We weren't losing money.
That's painful.
We had a product. It was just Microsoft decided to shut it down, and I know that I have a product. It's starting to make some money, and it makes the impact. It's a good product. People are starting to speak Arabic. So then we were struggling, and I built it. I built a learning management system with WordPress, and it was a painful process, really painful. Anyone that works with PHP and WordPress knows how painful it is to make something that can run and scale. Because I didn't know what our server is, because the programmers took care of that in the older version. So I felt like I paid $12 a month for a server, and I won actually a contract, a government contract.
Sorry,
Hello?
did you? Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah. So the product was so good that the government told us that they wanted it for all the schools in Israel. So I said, okay, but let's do it already on the new site. So I tried to make a lot of kids in Israel enter a WordPress site on a server that costed me $12 a month. This is how stupid I was. Okay, so it just crashed immediately. Like with 14 kids, it would crash. So I had to learn about servers and MySQL and all that painful process until it worked. Like three years ago, it started really working, and we have a name in Israel, and we have 70,000 users that are subscribed to our site. And about 2 years ago, I discovered Bubble, and I decided that that it's time to go international. And we started to translate all our courses to English speakers. And I decided I looked around for other technologies because I was thinking of doing another WordPress site, but it was too difficult and it's not good enough. It's value for money. It's not the best solution.
Yeah.
And I looked into no code or low code solutions. I tried some of them, and Bubble really, 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 grabbed the hold on me. I learned everything I could. I think a whole month was just me learning Bubble. All the courses out there, it became a task to be the best Bubble builder I can be, and I really love the freedom you have to just do the thing you want to do, to build your app and if you think you imagine you imagine some functionality, and then you think how can you do it, and I really connected to Bubble. I think it's because it was easier for me because I know a little bit about how web development works. So I know what's a variable and what it's for Bubble, and how the database works, and how not to do, because you can still, if it's no code, you can still write bad code or make an app that performs poorly.
Sure.
Even if it's no code.
Yeah, I talk to people all the time about how, if you make a search that has to search 1 million records, it's still going to take time, right? And you need to really think about the architecture of what you're doing. And while Bubble is very accessible, you still have to take a little time to understand what's going on. And it sounds like you did that. You came from a place where you had no tech background. You were an accountant. And you taught yourself PHP. But ultimately, even with those skills, you still ended up using Bubble. And
because what takes you like a month to do it in PHP or JavaScript or React even, or Angular, it can take you just a few days in Bubble. It's so much faster. It's crazy, and there's a community, an amazing community that helps you, and the forums and the plenty of plugins for every functionality you want. So it really, I was really excited to find Bubble. And I see that I'm really excited that to hear that you're working on it and improving it, because like a few years ago, Bubble was it was still cool, but the performance wasn't that good. And now you can add capacity, and you can add like workers for it, uh, and it's really helpful. And the thing is that I used to think that it's only good for an MVP. I'll build it now fast without any skills. I'm not a programmer. And then when I raise enough money and I'll grow, I can take programmers and pay them money and build something with React or whatever. But I'm starting to think that maybe Bubble is all you need. I really want to believe that I can, and it can develop now something that will last and can scale. Because the idea is to scale.
We are working very hard to make that possible, right? Like we've got a whole team of engineers who are working on your behalf to make that possible. And honestly, more and more people are sticking with us for longer, right? It's fun to be a part of and exciting to see what people are building. And speaking of which, do you want to maybe give us a look at what you're working on?
Sure.
Yeah, sure. Let's poke around a little bit.
Yeah, so you want to share my screen?
Yeah.
Can you see okay?
I can.
Okay, so this is a course in Beelango. I actually started this app with a template of a zero code template. And
so this right is now, Beelango.com, right? Beelango.com.
Yeah, it's like the little bee with the speech bubble. So I started with a template which I bought in the store, but nothing is actually left of the template. Slowly, I replaced everything. So there's not much left of the template, but I do recommend starting with a template. It gives you a structure and a frame. And then you can slowly change things. So this is a course. There's always a free part that you can see without, you need to register, you need to put in your email.
Okay.
And when you enter the course, this is the part I'm really proud of.
I might have to learn a new language.
Yeah. So this is an Arabic course. Okay. So actually what you see here is not Bubble, it's a storyline. It's a file that is stored in an S3 in an Amazon server, and is here with via iframe. Okay, so here you have this is Bubble. All that's around is Bubble. Okay, just this little square is not Bubble.
And so what's going on there in this little square? The majority of the screen is an iframe, which is a piece of code that gets pulled into your Bubble app and displays like a mini website, right?
Yeah, you can call it a mini website.
Yeah.
So you have a little presentation, and here you have the activity. This is a very simple activity, just to learn the Arabic alphabet. You need to.
And so these are, you click through these different activities and it's showing you how to use this letter sin.
Yes, it shows you where you can find the letter sin in the word France. And you see we already are throwing you in the water. We're showing you words when
Mm-hmm.
you're learning letters. Okay, so slowly but surely you learn everything. Um, and actually, in the app, there are four kinds of different activities. Some of them are just bubble.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so there's a storyline activity. There is a storyline lesson. There is let's find it here so I can tell you.
And so what you're doing
There,
here is you have your menu on the left and you have the menu hamburger on the left, on the top left. And that opens up the menu and compresses the screen. That's nifty. I like the way that looks.
yeah,
'Cause-
it's a bubble plugin actually. I forgot his name.
yeah, that's all right. It looks real great, and especially when you want people to just focus on their lesson. They only have to pull that open when they want to navigate to the next thing. But otherwise, they've got the full lesson in front of them, and the menu is hidden.
Yeah, yeah. The big challenge was when someone finishes a lesson, a
Hmm.
storyline lesson, which is a mini site outside of Bubble. I want Bubble to sense that the lesson is finished and mark it as complete.
Hmm.
So there's actually stuff going on around the scenes to make it happen.
And you built that into Bubble?
I I used the no, actually it was really hard to use the API because of the storyline part.
Hmm.
So I'm sending from the storyline. It opens like a small square, small browser square, and
Hmm.
in there there's a workflow that marks
Interesting.
the lesson complete, and
Yeah.
it closes after a few seconds, just
Okay.
for the it's a little hacky, but it works.
No, it's it's smart, right? Because you're doing what you need to pass that information, and it doesn't need to
Yes,
be seen by the end user, right? And
yes, and
so, go ahead.
yeah, it's seen by the um, if you use a smartphone, you can see that this, but I designed it so it doesn't look weird. So it marks a check mark and tells you that the lesson is complete. And after a few seconds, it takes you to the next lessons.
That's
So
great. That's super interesting. Do you mind? Would you mind actually taking a peek at at some of the workflows you built out for this?
sure, sure, no problem. Now let me open the bubble editor real quick. So it's a page called Mark Complete.
Okay.
It's a simple, small page,
Mm-hmm.
and the workflow. It's one workflow when the page is loaded. I'm making a change to the current user and
Mm-hmm.
telling him that add to the list of completed lessons the this lesson.
Mm-hmm.
Add your current lesson to the completed lesson and
Mm-hmm.
make the next lesson your current lesson, basically.
Cool. Interesting. And so this all gets triggered by an API from an API call from the storyline that
It's
you're using.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's yeah,
Very cool. And so it loads
yeah.
up
So
this page and that changes the user's information so that it
yes,
advances the user to the next lesson.
yes, and it shows him even
The check marks for the ones that you've done in your bar on the left.
yeah, it shows a check mark,
Mm-hmm.
and it shows him the little 5 4 3, the little counter. I'm going to the next lesson.
Mm-hmm.
Let me go through this lesson real quick so you can see the whole thing. So
Interesting.
here it's
So
not small, but
yeah.
it gets me back to here, and
Yeah. So the last button, the last advance button in the
it
lesson
has Yeah, it has the trigger. It
Mhm.
triggers the API.
Which redirects you to the page, which has that workflow we just looked at, which
Yeah.
updates the user's not credentials, to update the user's lessons. You finish this lesson,
Yes.
now you're on to the next one. And
Yes, and it took like few seconds, and I'm in the next lesson already.
that's great. No, that would took no time at all. You moved on real quick. Very efficient. And
Yeah,
honestly,
everything here. I'm trying to not touch the database
mhm.
as much as I can. If I touch it, and I touch it by, in a different place than the browser. This is why I liked your new addition to Bubble, um, that workflow, the server workflow. Uh,
You could schedule that on the back end. It doesn't have to happen while the user's using your app. It doesn't have to happen at the same time. And as
yes,
long as it's
and
not,
yeah,
okay.
because what's taking a lot of time to load in here, you actually don't see because
hmm
it's behind the page. This has all the lessons of the course, and it's a long list, and it can take like it can take Bubble time to load, but
hmm
the user can't see because it's closed when you first load it. So what?
Interesting. So that's being loaded, but because the user isn't looking at that because it's hidden,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
don't
So you,
notice the discrepancy.
yeah, so you see the performance. It has a look and feel of an app, a mobile app.
hmm
It's working fast, and you can also browse, with these. And another thing I'm proud of is the new onboarding that as this is a tremendous success. I had a um, like this onboarding process
hmm
uh, im- improved improved. I just uploaded like 2 weeks ago, and it improved the signups by 100%. It
That's
was
incredible. How
crazy,
long?
crazy.
Yeah. How long did it take you
After
to design and implement the new onboarding?
I'm not only doing that
hmm
because it's uh, we had a big deal recently. One of Israel's most important newspaper, media group,
hmm
um, has bought 50% of our company.
That's
Um,
awesome.
yeah,
Congratulations.
thank you. So we build a new company, and I I put all the technology in the company. The newspaper put money and advertisement and all the things I had to do, like accounting and all the stuff that you as a entrepreneur you have to do.
hmm
So they do it because they do it for all their companies. So we can really focus on the product and making it the best we can.
That's great.
Um,
It also proves
so
what we were talking about earlier about the valuability and the scalability of Bubble. You built something with Bubble, you built something without code, and you found an incredible investor. You found partners.
and I didn't even look for them. They
They
saw
found you.
they saw it, and
hmm
they wanted a meeting. So I went there, and after 2 hours that they saw the WordPress, they saw Bubble, they saw everything I had, and the CEO, he looks at me and he said, "Okay, you know what? We want in. We want 50%." And I said, "Okay, let me think about
Yeah.
it." and and it took a year of lawyers and
hmm
contracts and negotiations, also painful process.
Sure.
But now it's done. And 2 weeks ago, we finished. We started working with the new company.
Congratulations. That's huge. It's exciting
Thanks.
too. But
Thank you. Thank you.
it's also very impressive that they didn't know what it was built on and they didn't care because it worked. right? They saw the product, they saw how incredible it was, and they had to meet you.
Yeah, yeah. They have they have 20 programmers like that there, and they wanted to understand what I did, how we did because it's not just the bubble, it's the storyline, it's the
Mm-hmm.
everything around it, um, and the bubble. It's impressive when you show a coder that works on Angular.
Mm-hmm.
You show him a thing you did in 1 hour in Bubble that it blows your mind
Yeah.
because they have to do so much stuff around it in order to get to the same result
Mm-hmm.
that in Bubble it can be just a few workflows and you're there.
Yeah,
And it's like my secret weapon.
I found that the more entrepreneurial developers, the more open-minded developers love Bubble because it frees them to focus on the more complex things, right? They don't have to focus on the simple stuff. They don't have to focus on building another login, right? They don't have to go through building the same things over and over again. They can release that responsibility to people who are building the business, who are thinking about the structure and the workflows and the UI and the UX, and creating a beautiful app. And so, you outpaced 20 different developers, and that's incredible.
Yeah. It's
So,
so to build a thing like this
yeah,
not in Bubble, you need five guys that were working around the clock.
yeah,
No doubt about it.
yeah. So tell me a little bit about this new workflow you've created. Not workflow, this new login.
This new workflow. It's really really simple. It's
Mm-hmm.
I'll just show you. Get
Yeah.
started.
So,
It also works nice on mobile. I built a different page for mobile.
mm-hmm.
I found out in Bubble that you need to have special pages for mobile.
So if I'm coming from a mobile address or from a mobile browser, it redirects me to a page specifically built for mobile
Yes.
experiences. Okay.
Yes. The Bubble lets you choose a mobile version of
Mm-hmm.
each page. So most of the pages I had to build a mobile version
Mm-hmm.
as well as the desktop version.
Yeah. But then you get a much cleaner, bespoke experience because you can control exactly how it's going to look.
Yeah. It looks great on mobile, but I wish Bubble can work on. I know it's a pain. It's a pain. It's a community-wide pain. It's the mobile native apps because there are solutions there. No solution for like drop spot source. There are solutions
Mm-hmm.
to building mobile apps, but if Bubble could address it and you wouldn't have to build a few apps.
It's on our radar for sure.
I think it's because the world is going to is already on the mobile first kind of
view. Absolutely. We're working on it.
I think it's super important. It's okay. So you choose a language.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, from a database point of view, a language is a category, and every category has subcategories that are like Arabic for English speakers, for French speakers, so the for part is the subcategory, the language in which you already speak. So why Arabic? Because travel.
So it asks you which language you want to learn. It asks you why you want to learn it and gives you a couple different categories. Yes, and now it's asking you your proficiency.
Yeah. Like about your Arabic, all that's interesting for me to know is can you read or can't you read for now?
Excuse me. Yeah.
and I'll let you pick a goal and watch a short 1 minute video. Um, if you only want to learn how to read Arabic, small talk, basic conversation, and speak fluently. And here I ask you about your commitment level. Okay, how much time can you invest in this? How
Mhm.
committed are you?
And so this is all
And
happening on the sites. Are these custom states that you have built in?
this is actually environment variable.
Okay.
There's a plugin called, I think it's called environmental variables.
Hmm.
It works like custom states, but I think it works faster.
Okay.
You see how fast it works
Yeah.
because I don't touch the database.
Hmm. And you're not
I'll show
moving,
you.
you're not navigating to a new page either. It's all within the same
No,
page.
yeah, it's one page.
Hmm.
Everything happens in the same page, and it's the only way it can really go fast. Um, and then I prompt you to create a profile.
I love the little artwork that you have here. These
Yeah,
are great.
it's from a free site. I think it's called Undraw.
Hmm.
It's great. They have plenty of those.
So it really takes you through this flow. It's very simple, asking one, two questions at most each time.
Yeah, and when you finish, now we're talking to the database.
Yeah. And you had that progress bar on top, which was great too. It shows you how far you've gone and how much is
Yeah,
left to encourage you to finish.
yeah, and then we take you to your profile, and
Hmm.
we show you your plan and your goals, and some explainer videos about the Arabic language and which kind of what kind of dialect we're teaching, and you have your recommended courses for
Hmm.
you, and you can try them for free, and then you get to the, and you have a one-time offer. You can get all the courses for this amount, and it's a lifetime subscription.
So you can come back, retake the classes, brush up whenever you need to.
Yeah, because people they learn online.
Hmm.
It's a struggle. It's you against yourself. Because it's much easier to go to Facebook and YouTube and Instagram and PlayStation.
Yeah.
And so learning is really the last thing you want. You set your goal. I want to learn Arabic, how to speak Arabic or Hebrew or English. But you have to recommit every day to that goal. And we help you with that. We actually, another cool thing I've built here is a mailing system that
Hmm.
every time you finish a course, the our team can, if you finish a lesson, our
Hmm.
team can choose which lessons prompt an email.
Hmm.
So everything is connected to Sendinblue. No, yeah, Sendinblue, the mailing app.
Hmm.
Which I tried SendGrid. I tried Mailchimp SendGrid. I ended up with Sendinblue
Hmm.
because I found out it really connects really good with Bubble.
Great.
Um,
That's good to know. I didn't know that. I'll have to take a look myself.
yeah, I use
Mm.
Mail. I love Mailchimp, but with Bubble, it's a little tough
Yeah, I get it.
because
I also love this affirmation you have here. You are awesome and powerful individual, and you're willing to dedicate 20 to 30 minutes every day for your ultimate goal of speaking fluently in Arabic within 5 months. That's great.
yeah. So
You let
everything
people.
you answered before, it comes to life here.
So that's very interesting. So that's actually that's dynamic information.
Yeah, everything here is dynamic. Also, if you chose Hebrew,
Hmm.
there would be different videos and pointers
Hmm. So this is
in
all.
here.
Yeah. This is
This
all
is all dynamic
dynamic.
and different courses. The recommended courses for you. If you can read or not, it would show you different courses. Um,
Very cool.
if you chose to learn a different language, also, the and you can always change that. Go to the homepage and retake this onboarding process.
And so you said this onboarding increased signups 100%. And do you have any theories as to why that is, or why you saw that improvement?
I think, it's the flow. It's the look and feel of the flow,
Yeah. I mean, that was
and
super clean and super easy.
every question you ask, you need to think about it really, really good, because I started with low commitment. And as you go through the onboarding process, the commitment rises a little bit. Why would you like to learn Arabic? It gives you the feeling that we care, and that maybe some content will change, and we will get an individualized content for you, which we plan on doing in the future.
Yeah. I mean, I got excited going through it as we were like, well, I wasn't even choosing anything, and I got excited. I was like, hey, yeah, I want to learn this. I want to do that. Yeah, I can commit that time. Sure. All right, great. Let's start. Very exciting.
After you answers like 4 or 5 questions, then I can slowly start to the end goal is to get you to sign up, get your emails, and then, because most users won't purchase a course on the first time they see it. They will try it, and then they will leave it, and they will forget it. So in the beginning, we used to show them the free part without asking the email. But then they would just come, see, and even if they thought it's cool, the chance that they'll buy something the first time they see it is not big. So they need to get your emails and to hear from you. And maybe we have clients in the WordPress site that got 4 years of emails every week, and first after 4 years. So you can never know.
Yeah.
You can never know. But I think every entrepreneur, every startup has to understand that emails is a big
It's a driver, right? It's a driver of people's
driver.
Engagement, of new business, of bringing back people who maybe have fallen off. Emails it's still probably the best way to connect with your users. I agree, absolutely.
Yeah.
And so let's transition a little bit into what you see moving forward. You mentioned that you're going to start doing some custom courses for people. What else do you see for yourself moving forward? What other kind of features, and what do you see for the business?
So we are recruiting content writers in other languages. Our goals are to perfect 5 or 6 levels of courses in Arabic, Hebrew, and English. These are the first 3 languages. According to the business plan we committed with the new deal. After that, we want to scale to more languages: Spanish, French, Klingon.
I would love Klingon.
Yeah, we have like a business plan with 7 more languages after English, Arabic, and Hebrew that we would like to teach online. And this is the plan for the future. Work on the content, and improve the Bubble app, and improve the flow, improve and really look at what people want from us, because we have a lot of things that we use outside of Bubble that maybe we can integrate later into Bubble. Like I integrated recently the recording exercises. We have recording exercises that you need to record yourself. We save that to the database. You can listen to yourself, and people actually see the improvement with the recording. They track their progress like this. They see how I was in lesson 1, my recording, and in lesson 10, and you see improvement in accent and in the flow of speech. It's really one of the strongest tools for language, and you can always hear the original, the recording that we uploaded, the correct solution. We have voice recognition technology that we tapped into Google's API for voice recognition. So it's a different app that also is integrated to Bubble via I'll show you via iframe.
So you really make the most of the iframe feature in building this out. Like you maximize the extensibility of Bubble. Bring in all these other services. Yeah, that's
because I could use APIs, but it's sometimes it's too complicated. So you just throw in an iframe. It's simpler. Here is just push to speak, and you need to say, "My name is Sarah," and the machine tells you if you said it correctly.
Nice. That's great. That's huge to have something let you know immediately if you've done it right or not.
Yeah. I wonder if it's me, Sarah. Yeah, cool.
Hey. So you speak great English. You speak Hebrew, I assume. And did you speak Arabic before you picked up this project?
No.
So you've been learning Arabic as you've been building this out?
I've been yes, you can. It's impossible not to learn when you build it. I also know French from my parents.
So you got 4 languages under your belt. That's great.
My Arabic is can improve. But yeah.
Well, good news is you've built a tool to help.
Yeah.
And so I want to go back to something you said earlier, because I do want to talk a little bit more about that, because it's actually very fascinating to me about how learning languages and learning culture has helped to bridge the divide that you're seeing in your own community. So talk to me a little bit more about that. And you also mentioned that some other people have looked into your work and specifically the government and done some studies, right?
Yes. One of our programs is studied at elementary schools. And they took it's an older program, and a research institute did the research. They took 3,000 school children that learned with our program, and 3,000 that didn't learn with our program. And this program is cool because we also trained Arab teachers to go into Hebrew speaking schools. Like those kids never saw, some of those kids never saw an Arab person in their life, in the Jewish community. And we trained 200 teachers, Arab teachers, to go and teach, because when you bring the target culture into the classroom, it has a major impact, and we try to bring that in the app, in the videos, in the culture is you enter Arabic speaking environment when you enter this course, so you really immerse. So this program, they examined it for 2 or 3 years, and they saw that children that learned with this program, as opposed to children that do not, are much less likely to be afraid of the Arabic language and of Arabs, and they're a much toned down, I think it's the right expression, basically are less racist
Yeah, no,
or
that's
it reduces the race. I think they have a scale of racism,
mhm,
so it it tips the scale
yeah,
towards tolerance, and it makes perfect sense because when you learn the other culture, and if you do it, the best way to do it is through language. But
mhm,
when you learn the other side's culture, you basically you know them, and racism is just not enough knowledge.
yeah. I
Not
agree.
a real thing. No, you don't know. You just don't know the other cultures.
Yeah, I think it's absolutely rooted in ignorance and a fear of what you don't know. And when you pull
Yeah,
back the curtain and you expose people and like these are just people. They're just like you and I, and they just speak a different language and they have slightly different customs, but now you know what those are. It doesn't feel foreign. It doesn't feel so different. And
exactly,
that's
exactly.
great. I mean, that's incredibly meaningful work. And
Yes, and my goal and our company's goal is to make this impact. And this is why the newspaper invested in us,
mhm,
because it's they're a special bunch of people because they're also very ideology, uh, and and our goal is to basically um, replicate this impact and to the entire world and to bridge gaps because there are a lot of gaps to bridge. And if you will only learn another language through words and sentences and grammar, uh, it doesn't cut it. It doesn't do what you will never really
mhm.
understand the person standing in front of you.
Yeah. It feels like a
Um,
very sterile process, whereas what you're providing is this immersion. You really understand where it came from, the roots, the history, the people around it.
exactly,
That's
exactly.
great.
Because I'll give you a small example.
Hmm.
Um, when an Arab person comes, tells you inshallah. Do you know what it means?
I don't know.
It means if God wills.
Hmm.
Okay. So but really what it means is no. So so like when I asked an Arab person, can we meet next week? And he said inshallah. So I think it's yes. You know,
Yeah.
yeah, if God permits. So cool. But now I know it's really no.
Yeah. They're
But
just,
they're too polite
yeah.
to tell you no. They'll never tell you no.
No.
I can't meet. So if they can meet, they say
Yeah.
yes. But if they can, they say inshallah.
Yeah.
So it's a small thing, but you have to know it when you learn Arabic. And I never saw it in any of the sites
Hmm.
that no one teaches that. No
Yeah.
one. And that's everything.
That's a fun nuance, right? That's
Yeah. So
yeah.
the app is
If
filled
it
with
works, it
those.
works. If we meet, we meet, but no guarantees.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not up to me. It's God.
Yeah.
Okay. I
Yeah.
remove
I'm not
the
responsible.
responsibility of
Yeah.
yeah, it's not me, dude. It's up there. I can't tell him what to do. Come on.
Very good. Well, that's great. And so to wrap this up, I appreciate you coming on and taking the time to chat with me. What is what is the one thing that you would say to people who are just getting started, who are looking to build something with as much meaning and purpose as what you've built here? What kind of advice do you have
Ah,
for them?
actually, a very interesting question because 2 weeks ago, a CEO of a big pharmaceutical company, um, which I know is a friend, and he asked me to talk to his teenage girl. He said, I want to introduce you to three people that I think did something, and you're one of them. And I didn't understand. I was super overwhelmed by that. I said, okay. And he asked me the same question. And when I try to look at what is what made this possible, this happen, it's not because I'm smart, super smart or super talented, because I'm not. I think it's really it's the ability to suffer, because when you're an entrepreneur, you're gonna suffer, but it's suffer a lot of time. Sometimes it's not fun while you're keeping your eyes on the goal and remembering why you did it. If this is strong enough and you can push through, you'll succeed. Because even if you have a great platform to build your dream upon, like Bubble, it's still going to be difficult. And once you have the first version of your product, nothing happens. No one will use it in the beginning. No one, because you have to be the programmer and you have to be the marketer, and you have to learn the Google Analytics, Google ads, and put banners out there. And you have to learn many disciplines if you are trying to build this on your own. And you have to get help. You have to try and build a team if you can. Don't try to do it alone.
That's great.
And be willing to suffer a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
You
gotta have that grit
sometimes.
Yeah, it's certainly tough for being an entrepreneur, but worthwhile, especially when we see what people accomplish, what we see you've accomplished, and it really is fantastic. Thanks for taking the time to chat with me and show me through Beelango, and I look forward to seeing what the new year brings to you and what this new partnership brings to you.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you. Thank you all for listening. Be sure to rate us wherever you get your podcasts. Find us on Twitter at Bubble, and be sure to tag us when you launch your next no-code hustle. There's nothing we love more than seeing you tear down the barrier between real problems and tech-enabled solutions, all without code.